for many people, honestly, the terms Yiddish and Hebrew are sort of like synonyms. Like just like when people think about Arabs and Muslims, uh, these two terms mean two different things, but for in many people's minds they mean the same thing. So I presume that when people hear the word Yiddish or Hebrew, they just imagine that it's the same language, the same people, which is in fact not true. So maybe you can actually put some light on what are the differences between, let's say, the Yiddish language or the people who had spoken Yiddish and the Hebrew language.
So the modern Hebrew language is basically the revivement of the old Aramaic-based biblical language adapted for our modern world. And it has been in use only during the past 70, 80 years of the existence of the state of Israel and what was leading up to that. Yiddish was the most spoken Jewish language beforehand, specifically in Central and Eastern Europe. And even my grandparents and great grandparents would know or speak Yiddish to some extent, and definitely the older generations. With some large communities, both in Israel and outside, of Jewish people who are more on the religious side, still keeping their communities Yiddish based. So if you go to an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood in New York or Jerusalem, you would still hear a lot of people speak Yiddish on a daily basis, that being their native tongue, and using Hebrew as their second language or not even speaking Hebrew at all. So it's a very well preserved language, although it's not in any official use in the state of Israel itself. It is definitely in massive use in the Jewish community, in the Jewish world.
But you have also mentioned that it's in a way a dying language.
It is.
So it is disappearing. And is it because of modern Hebrew, just because it's a state language and most people now learn and study and speak modern Hebrew, and Yiddish is kind of becoming obsolete with time and being replaced with modern Hebrew?
Yes. So, in the general sense, on the general scope of the Jewish population, especially in Israel, Yiddish is completely not in use. So, where in 2, 3 generations ago, nearly every Jewish person would speak Yiddish. Nowadays, it's nearly every Jewish person doesn't. And that being said, well, with Yiddish being a Germanic language and very similar to German, uh, for obvious historic reasons, I think that was part of the reason uh, the state of Israel chose to transition into modern Hebrew instead. While being a dying language, Yiddish is still, as I said, very widely used in the Orthodox Jewish communities, both within Israel and the United States and the rest of the world, but it is not much in use beyond it.